Hey, sports fans. Welcome back to Bucky Sports Show. I'm here this evening with my buddy Jay. We're going to break down a little baseball for you this evening. Jay, I'm going to start off here with a bit of a hot take for you. And I don't know if you're going to agree with me, and I hope you don't, because that'll make it all much better. I don't like spring training. I think it's way too long, and I think it needs to be revamped. And here is why. The too long. The NBA plays 4 games, which is 4.8% of their season. The NFL plays 3 games, which is 17.6% of their season. MLB plays 33 games, which is 20% of their season. These are guys that train off-season, year-round. They don't need that many games to get ready. And in that, the Braves have played 10 games now, and they have not played their opening day roster together yet. Like, they're not even trying to get players used to playing with each other. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why they can't just do 2 or 3 weeks and then just get going.
Well, I don't know if you want me to disagree with you or not, but I agree with you on some things. One of the interesting things that was brought up on MLB Network today while I was listening to it on radio was, the games coming up in Japan.
Yep.
And they brought up the fact that how many pitchers that pitched in Japan, those early games, that much earlier, that cut away from their conditioning in spring training, wound up having arm trouble the next year.
Okay.
That upcoming season, later on that same season.
Right.
Yeah. But the thing that baffles me is I don't know if we have more press now. I don't know if we discover more things now, if everything's out there now. But it astounds me, and I mentioned this to a friend of mine that's an athletic trainer. There's more and more people going into athletic training and conditioning and everything, but yet it seems like we have more and more and more tweaks.
Yep.
Not necessarily really serious injuries, but lat strains, arm strains that are out 3 to 4, 6 weeks or something like that.
Yep.
How does this keep happening if we've supposedly got these experts conditioning these guys? All Babe Ruth did was drink beer and eat hot dogs. I don't remember seeing him spend that much on the internet.
That's a diet I could get used to, except throwing in pizza instead of hot dogs.
But I think it's as much of a tourism thing and a money.
I think it's overuse.
I think so too.
You're seeing kids now in high school with Tommy John surgery because they're throwing the curveball, they're throwing sliders, they're throwing all these pitches that they shouldn't be throwing yet, that they're learning when they're 9, 10 years old, playing AAU ball from a bunch of idiot coaches that think they're trying to win a World Series.
I've heard many a pro say that, many an analyst say that a kid should never throw anything but a fastball or a normal curve until their arm's fully developed. Yep. No splitters, no sliders, all that. It's hurting these kids. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then here's my other issue with spring training. The scheduling's dumb. I looked at 2 teams. One was the Braves, and the other team I looked at was the Cardinals, since that would be represent your team. And those 2 teams don't play each other in spring training.
Where are the Braves now?
The Braves are in Northport, Florida.
No.
They are 3 hours away from each other. So they're north of Fort Myers just a little bit.
Okay, so they're on opposite coasts.
They're on the opposite coast.
Right. Yeah. You don't see very many teams on the opposite coast of Florida play each other.
Which is stupid.
That's the beauty of Arizona.
But here's it is the beauty of Arizona. But here's my issue. So then I broke it down between the teams that are in Florida and or who the Braves Cardinals play in spring training. So like I said, Braves Cardinals don't play each other.
Mm-hmm.
The Twins, the Braves play them 4 times, Cardinals 0. Tampa Bay Rays, Braves 4, Cardinals 0. Orioles, Braves 3, Cardinals 0. Pirates, Braves 3, Cardinals 0. Red Sox, Braves 4, Cardinals 0. Nationals, Braves 2, Cardinals 7. Marlins, Braves 2, Cardinals 8. Yankees, Braves 2, Cardinals 2. Tigers, Braves 3, Cardinals 0. Phillies, Braves 2, Cardinals 0. Blue Jays, Braves 2, Cardinals 2. Astros, Braves 0, Cardinals 6. Mets, Braves 0, Cardinals 6.
You see a pattern there?
Yeah, but there are so many teams on the golf that it's a little more balanced. These teams, they need it's a 3-hour drive.
Yeah.
Come on.
But that's travel expenses you got to pay. They don't want to get into profit. I agree.
If your starters don't even make road trips anyway.
Yeah.
It's your AAA guys.
That's true.
So I don't understand it. And then you throw on the outside of Florida games. The Braves play the Cubs twice in Arizona right before they open their season at San Diego.
Okay.
So
on the way.
Yeah, they're getting into 2 extra games against an MLB team. Meanwhile, the Cardinals, they want to play 1 extra game against their AAA farm team in Memphis. They're playing the Memphis Cardinals in Tennessee.
Yeah, that's old tradition. The teams back then, most of them went to Florida. Now there's more of them that's moved out to Arizona. But back in the old days, 40s, 50s, they would gradually work their way north and have exhibition games everywhere.
Okay, so play another MLB team. I don't understand why you want to play your AAA team.
Yeah.
What does that do for you right before you play the season?
Maybe it appeals to more Cardinal fans because they want to see the prospects that are there.
Well, go watch them on the road in spring training. They'll be there.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think it's become more of a tourism thing than anything else.
Yeah, I don't understand the length and the scheduling of spring training. And then when you get into it, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later, but the East teams we're talking about tonight have had 3 significant injuries this spring training already.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to what I said. I don't understand.
But, we're 1 week, 2 weeks into spring training, so those probably would have happened even with a 3-week. But I mean, losing Sean Murphy for 4 to 6 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks or whatever it was would feel a lot better if.
We heard about Walker for the Cardinals today, did you?
I did not.
He stepped on a sprinkler head and sprained his knee, so he's having an MRI on his knee tomorrow.
Yeah, probably because they had to share their place with the Marlins, which makes no sense to me either.
Used to share their place with the Expos back before they became the Nationals.
Yeah, that makes no sense to me either.
No, I don't disagree with you about it, but yeah, I think it all goes back to almost anything in any sport now. Tourism, this has become part of tourism. There's a lot of people that plan their trips around going to spring training, and those spring training games sell out.
I don't disagree with you, but those spring training games could start right now and eliminate a week of spring training and get those games down. Instead you're playing 33, get it down to 20, 25.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
But you can still report at the same time.
And
you can take live batting practices and all that stuff.
I still don't understand the injury thing. It's
baffling.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this. American League East, the Baltimore Orioles.
Okay.
Looked at the betting odds today. World Series, they got them at plus 1,700. I have that as a solid no. The AL pennant.
Now you're gonna have to. I'm not into gambling, so you're gonna have to explain the odds to me.
Well, so the closer to 0 you are,
Okay.
is more likely it is to happen. So I think the Dodgers I saw were the favorite at like plus 300.
Okay. So you say Baltimore 1,700.
Baltimore 1,700.
Well, let's compare them to the Yankees. What they got them?
The Yankees are at plus 800.
See, I totally disagree with that.
Okay, good. This will be a fun show. The AL East, Baltimore's at plus 285. I've got a no on that. The win total, 87.5. The under is a minus 120, or the over is a minus 120. The under is plus 100. I've got the over.
I agree.
I think Baltimore wins more than they win 88 or more games.
Mm-hmm.
I got them as a 90-win team.
I agree.
Make the playoffs. Yes is minus 175. No is plus 145. I've got them making the playoffs.
I agree.
My players to watch or things to watch, I think it's the pitching staff. Corbin Burns leaving. Their pitching staff last year, they were 27th in ERA. They replaced him with 41-year-old Charlie Morton. You know, Charlie's got a soft spot in my heart because he helped the Braves win a World Series a few years ago. But he's 41. He was 8-10 last year. He had an ERA over 4.
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, that doesn't replace Corbin Burns.
No.
And they have him right now projected as the number 3 starter.
I saw number 4, but okay.
Okay, so 3-4 starter.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably a number 5.
Mm-hmm.
And he would be a good mentor, and he will be a good mentor for their younger pitching.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the only reason he's a number 4 instead of a number 5 is because they signed Segumo.
Okay.
Okay. He's a legit 3 or 4 starter. But they're probably going to put him at 5 because he's unknown, basically. Over here, and he's new. Yeah, you look at every team's minuses, pluses, weaknesses. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I know one buddy of mine is going to totally disagree with me, but I think they have better chances to win the East and make the playoffs than the Yankees.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
You go down past, similar starting rotations. You go past number 2 there. There's not a lot of depth there either. Okay.
Okay.
You get past Freed, and of course they're number 1. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of depth there.
Right.
The best thing the Yankees did was sign the guy from Milwaukee that was their closer last year. Name escapes me right now. But losing Soto, they've not done enough to me to make up for that. Plus, here's the thing. We talk about injuries. All right. The depth is key with anything. Okay. Baltimore's starting rotation is a little bit weak. Yeah.
It's a question mark.
It's their, to me, it's their only question mark.
It is. It is.
Yeah. But if you're a starter for Baltimore, you can get to the 5th or 6th inning because they've got maybe the 2nd or 3rd best bullpen in all baseball.
Yeah.
And you got Bautista coming back, the mountain,
Yep.
And he pitched a great inning the other day, and he's feeling good. So, and then the position players, they got a ton of depth. Now, yeah, they lost Santander to the Blue Jays.
They did.
But I can understand why I didn't want to put out big money for him because he's 30-something now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. His year last year was the career year for him. By far the best year he's ever had.
Right.
So do you want to lay out big money on a 32 or 33-year-old guy and take a chance on him equaling that career year?
Right.
When you can go out and they replaced him in 2 ways. Jordan Westburg at third base, who was hurt 75% of the year last year, he's back and healthy. And then you go out and you sign O'Neill. Tyler O'Neill,
Mm-hmm.
who had a great year at Boston last year. And he's one of those guys, you know, I know because I saw him play long enough for the Cardinals. If you keep him healthy, he's going to bang it for you, and he's won a Gold Glove.
Yeah.
So they did enough there to replace, and you've got depth everywhere else. Their farm system is insane. And if Holiday can come through and even begin to fill his potential at second base, you know, and then you got Gunnar Henderson, who's unreal. If you can get any offense out of Cedric Mullins to go with his superb defense, and then you've got 2 or 3 guys that can come in and play first, and you got Mayo, one of their number 1 prospects. Over the last 2 years of minors, he hit 54 home runs. The only problem you got with him is where you're going to put him, because you got Mountcastle usually at first, and you got Westberg, who's coming back from injury at third.
Yeah.
So they're position players. They're just absolutely stacked, and they're bullpen. So I think, and that way, and I know I got a lot of odds makers out there that'll disagree with me on that. Because, but here's the thing about, you know, the reason I think they're better than the Yankees is, and I'm, like I said, maybe wrong, been wrong before, but if anything happens to Judge, I mean, if he misses any time at all, they're dead meat. And here's the reason why they didn't do more. I know this is yet to be seen, but they go out and get Goldschmidt to play first base. Okay?
Yep.
Why didn't you upgrade your position players more? Well, would it be possible that you're saving your money to go get Vladimir Guerrero Jr.?
No.
See that I think that's what they're thinking.
I mean,
they're gonna make it through this year.
Yeah.
And they can, and let's face it, with their financial stability, they can go out and make a trade at the deadline and pay an exorbitant amount for somebody if you know, if they're close and that put them over the top, they can do what they want. But that's also an advantage for Baltimore that they didn't have in their old ownership. The Angelos family wouldn't spend any money at all.
Right.
You got a new owner down there that if he thinks at the trade deadline he can go out and sign somebody too, and he will. He did with Burns last year.
Right.
So I think, and you know, we'll get to the Red Sox in a minute, but I think the Yankees may be a third place team in that division, and they may not even make the playoffs.
Okay. All right. Well, Kirk's keys for the Baltimore Orioles is their offense. Can they outduel the other team with that ERA of the starting staff? I think the offense has to be clicking.
Did you know they moved the walls in?
Did they? Well, they'll be clicking then, won't they?
Yeah, that's probably I don't think they moved the walls in.
Well, with a short porch of what the Yankees have, I'd say that's fair.
And that might help out Goldsmith, you know.
Oh, I would say so.
Yeah, I wrote down an interesting note on Goldsmith here that.
Well, let's just go into the Yankees.
Okay.
Since we're already on them. My betting odds have the Yankees at plus 800. That is the best in the AL to win the World Series. It is third best overall. I had them losing in the World Series. With that being said, I did today, when I saw the plus 800, put money on the Yankees to win the World Series today. So, you know, if they do win, won't be too upset that I missed on my lose in the World Series prediction there. AL pennant, they're a plus 310. I think they will win the AL pennant. The AL East, they're a plus 110. I think they'll win that. Their win total at 91.5, minus 120 is the over, plus 100 is the under. I take the over. Make the playoffs, yes, as a minus 390. No as a plus 300. I say yes, they will make the playoffs.
And they probably will.
And my players to watch, I'm going Max Fried. Can he return to form before his 2023 injury? He was 11-10 last year with his highest ERA since his first full season in the MLB. The Braves kind of ruined his hopes of a rookie season. His rookie year is considered like 2018, but his first full season was actually 2019. But they brought him up so many times in 17 and 18 that he didn't really have a full rookie season. So that's why I say his first full season, not rookie season. Then Paul Goldschmidt. Can he return to his 2022 and earlier years of 30-plus home runs, 100 RBI, 300 average? I'm not sure what happened to him their last couple years in St. Louis, but
we'll get into that when we talk about the Cardinals.
He struggled a little bit their last couple years. But, like we were talking about, will the short porch help him regain that form?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I think he's just fill in anyway.
No?
I think they'll go after Guerrero, and that's their plan.
Right.
If he can get him through the next year, then they will go after Guerrero.
Right.
Yeah. Because let's face it, with the kind of contract he's going to get, there's only 3 or 4 teams that realistically can bid on him anyway.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Okay, and then Kirk's keys for the Yankees. Aaron Boone needs to stay out of the way and let him play. I think Aaron Boone injects himself way too much and just sit back and manage and stay out of their way. Mm-hmm. The talent's there. Just let him eat.
I agree. I think he's a very overrated manager. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. But I see them as having more question marks than say the Orioles. If we're comparing those two right now, and we'll talk about the Red Sox. But I just see them as having more question marks. Even their number 2 man, Fried.
Yeah.
There's question marks there.
Yeah.
The only man in their rotation that there's not question marks for is Cole.
Right.
And then here's another. What are they going to do? Is they've been trying to get rid of Stroman all year.
Well, and then
why have they been trying to get rid of him?
Well, and then with the injury to Lewis Gill in spring training,
there you
out,
go.
What is he out? 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Stroman's now listed as number 5 starter.
Well, Mayhew down.
Now, with that being said, I would love to see a trade for Stroman to the Braves.
Okay.
Because I think it's the New York limelight.
That's a big thing too. Yeah.
Because he was phenomenal as a Blue Jay, and I think if you get him out of New York, I think he would be phenomenal again.
I think you're right. I think he was good for the Cubs.
So, is Cashman still the GM there at the Yankees?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cashman, if you're watching this, go ahead, call Antropolis, and let's get a deal done.
Well, and they're very heavily relying on Dominguez. They're letting him lead off.
Yeah.
And he's up and down like a yo-yo. And being as young as he is and the New York pressure on him, they're leading him on. They got him projected to lead off so far. I just see so many question marks for this team. Like I said, you get past Cole. They did shore up their bullpen by signing the closer from Brewers, Davis. I really can't think of his name right.
I can't think.
Getting old, I have trouble coming up with names sometimes, but yeah, and Goldschmidt, we were talking about that. He did make a little bit of a comeback last year at St. Louis. In his last 30 games, he raised his slugging percentage to .590. So if he can carry that and the park helps him, then I'm not going to say
Devin Williams is the closer.
Devin Williams, there you go. He's lights out. So they did, because that was their weak. That was a big weakness for them last year, was their bullpen, especially the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I just they may make a wild card. I mean, that division is so strong. You could very well finish in 3rd place of that division and still get a wild card. Look,
I think I think we are talking about the two best divisions in baseball tonight.
I absolutely agree. Yeah.
And I think any one of the three top teams could probably win the division.
I agree.
It's just a roll of the dice.
Yeah.
The other thing I liked about the Yankees, though, is Cody Bellinger.
Yeah.
The addition of him. Again, you got that short porch.
But will he perform?
That's,
And
he's
in New York now.
Right. They got the pieces. Will it be put together? The puzzle pieces are there. Will they put them together?
He had the MVP season in LA, so does the big city pressure affect him or not? Because he also fell apart in LA.
Yeah.
After the MVP season, he dropped off the face of the earth until he had a decent season with the Cubs. So, there you go.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Boston Red Sox.
The most intriguing team right now in the East.
We'll see. Boston Red Sox, World Series, they're a plus 2,200. I got that as a no. AL Pennant, they're plus 1,000. I got that as a no. AL East, they're plus 425. I got that as a no. The win total right now sets at 86.5. The over and under are both minus 110. I've got that as an under. I really think they're going to be at that 86 mark. It may be 85, it may be 86, it may be 87, it may be 88, but I think they're right around that number that's at. And I think the odds makers think that because they're both the same odds, that it could go either way. To make the playoffs, yes is minus 115, no is minus 105. If I was going to put money on it, I'd probably say yes. But if I was advising someone, I'd say no, just because the odds are a little better. So I went with no. My players to watch. And I know you want to get into this, so just hold your breath until I'm done here. Rafael Devers. Is he willing to move from third? Alex Bregman comes in with a fielding percentage of .968 compared to Devers' .944. That's career. My key, Kirk's keys, eliminate the dissension and play everyone that will allow the team to win.
Absolutely. I'm old school.
Yep.
Always have been. Anybody that knows me very well knows I'm old school. If you come to me and tell me that you're only going to do a certain thing, that I don't care. Yeah, if I'm an owner, I can afford to lose money. You play where I tell you.
Yep.
You're my employee. That's what I liked about, the man from Houston, comes in and says, I'll play anywhere you need me to play.
Yep.
I just want to win.
Yep.
That should be the attitude of everybody.
Yeah. Altuve is moving from second to left.
Yeah.
First time he's ever played out.
Right. So, now, it may be a little bit different if you're outstanding at that position. But I did not realize this the other day until they were talking about his defensive metrics the other day. He is, how many teams are there in the MLB? 30.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
He was 32nd in defensive metrics at third base. He had subs even finish better than him.
Yeah.
Now, I know the previous general manager said, you're going to be my third baseman. But hey, he's gone.
Right.
He's gone, all right? You can't play defense worth a crap at third base, all right?
Yeah.
Now, okay, they talk about, well, we need you to be involved in the game, so how much it takes away from you once in a while to be a DH. Well, that leaves the only other position for him as first base if you're not going to play him at third, okay?
Right.
But first base is underrated as far as your defense. I know third base is tougher, but if you're that bad at third, do we really want to put you at first?
Yeah.
The only option is the DDH.
Right.
And not only that, but the guys that he would open up a door for to play in the field, they're stacked, absolutely stacked with prospects.
Yeah.
And they got Christian Campbell, okay, second base shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He had a slash line last year in minors of 330 with a 439 on base percentage and a 558 slugging percentage. Need to make room for him.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And you got Trevor Story coming back.
Yeah.
And if he's perfectly healthy, he's going to really, really add to that team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, they're stacked with prospects. You got the guy at first base, Tristan Cassis.
Mm-hmm.
He's hit 50-something home runs in the last 2 years in minors. So that is going to totally skew, to me, that's going to totally skew all those odds. As far as game, if you can get him to DH and make everybody happy,
yeah,
then that totally changes the outlook for everything for them.
Yeah.
If you can get that, I see them and Baltimore fighting it out. It's a three-way race,
Mm-hmm.
But I would have them right there with Baltimore at the top with the Yankees a few games back. So, but that's the key. And they go out and get Crochet.
Yeah.
He's #1 stud from Cleveland, you
Yeah.
know. So they have done so many things to improve their team. 2 years ago they're in last place. Last year they finished third 12 games out.
Well, you're talking about improving their starting rotation. Walker Bueller's their fourth. Yeah.
Yeah, and if he could even approach
So
the play what he did.
he's a 2 or 3 on a lot of the teams.
If he could even approach what he did in the playoffs last year and his bulldog mentality may allow him to do that, they might have to give you a little bit more rest than normal. Maybe go to a 6-man rotation even. But if he's a stud.
Yeah.
So they're very dangerous. And they were a terrible defensive team last year. But by putting him at DH and Trevor Story coming back and the new man at third, I just don't. They're very dangerous. Yeah. And they're young, most of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, let's move on to what is probably my favorite American League team, the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yep.
The World Series, they're at a plus 5,000. I have no. AL Pennant, they're at a plus 1,700. I have no. The AL East, they're at a plus 750. I have no. Win total 81.5. The over is minus 115. The under is negative 105. I've got the under in a wide margin. Make the playoffs, yes, as a plus 180. No is a minus 220. I've got a definite no on that one. And if I'm being perfectly honest, when I was looking at this, this is the only team that I do not have a player to watch on.
I got one for you.
I've got a why watch. Why watch?
I got one for you.
And the why watch is, can the Rays adapt to playing at George M. Steinbrenner Field? With Tropicana being destroyed by Hurricane Milton in October last year, they're not playing at their home field. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure they can sell out a spring training field on a regular basis.
No, it's sad. It's sad.
And I don't know if that speaks for how bad the team is or how uninterested baseball is in Florida.
I think it's number 2. How can you not be? I mean, if you're a true baseball person, how can you not be a fan of that organization? They've done everything right. They always have. They develop well. They always have a terrific farm system, which always at least makes them competitive.
Yep.
Being in the new field is going to help their offense, but by the same flip side, it's going to hurt their pitching because there'll be more home runs hit.
Yeah.
So, but I just don't see Yandy Diaz, won a batting title a few years ago. He's declining.
Yeah.
And he's got no power. He never has.
Right.
But, well, and another thing, they can always bring up good prospects. They always have. I think Kevin Cash may be one of the 2 or 3 best managers in all of baseball. He teaches well. He develops well. But I just don't see them. I don't see them making the playoffs. I see them being competitive and being a thorn in the top 3 guys' sides, but I don't see them going anywhere. But there's a guy called Camarino.
Camarino.
He's going to be playing third base.
Okay.
He's their number 1 prospect. He played winter ball for Albert Pujols.
Okay.
And Pujols said he's a sure Hall of Famer. His bat speed was ranked in like the top 10% of all prospects out there. He is going to be a stud, and who to watch. And Shane McClanahan's coming back.
Okay.
Shane McClanahan missed all of last year. He's a legitimate number 1 starter and they say he's healthy. So they do have a stud number 1. Their pitching staff is good from top to bottom, and their bullpen's good. But I just don't see how they're going to score hardly any runs. And they do have another guy, another prospect called Chandler Simpson. He's an outfield, mainly center field prospect, Grease Lightning. He stole 198 bases in the last 2 years at the minors. So they do have a couple of really good prospects to watch. That's the only thing I see getting excited about with them. They won't finish in last, but I don't think they can compete with the 3 top teams. There's no way.
And that's, Kirk's keys to the Rays is offense has to have a good year. Yeah. Or this team will be really bad.
Yeah, and I just don't see that. I don't know where it's going to come from.
No, I don't either.
No.
I don't either.
No.
All right. Toronto Blue Jays.
They're number 4.
Okay.
I just don't. I don't think they've got enough offense. Their pitching staff, their rotation is relying heavily on 2 guys that have a terrible injury history, and now Scherzer's age is catching up with him on top of that.
Yes.
You got a guy named Bassett he's very dangerous. He's a great starter when he's healthy.
He was good for the Mets.
Yeah. The interesting thing about him last year, he was doing good. Then he got hit in the pitching arm with a 101-mile-an-hour line drive from Aaron Judge. Mm-hmm. His ERA ballooned to over 6. But in his last 5 starts, after he recovered from that, his ERA went back down to 2.77.
He is one of my players to watch.
Absolutely.
Can he return to his 23 and 22 form?
But Gausman, he's got poor health history. And then, their stud, Guerrero, okay, how's he going to mentally handle the walk year?
Yeah.
The pressure's going to be on him because he's going free agent. They have a stud prospect, an outfield prospect, that Alan Roden, last year at Buffalo, he averaged .314 with a .406 on base and a .510 slugging percentage, so he could bolster the offense. He might even make the club on opening day. But and here again, they're a very good team. But they'll finish ahead of Tampa.
Oh, easily.
But I don't see them being able to play with Boston, New York, or Baltimore. I just don't.
Well, so the Blue Jays betting, the World Series, they're plus 6,000. I got a strong no. AL pennant plus 3,000, no. AL East plus 1,500, no. Win total 78.5. The over is minus 115. The under is minus 105. I think that's an over. I think they're an 80 win team. Make the playoffs. Yes is plus 285. No is minus 360. I've got no.
No.
But I do think this is the most intriguing team to keep your eye on in the AL East. And here's why. The starting pitching, like we mentioned, Chris Bassett, Max Scherzer, they're coming off a down year. Bassett, can he return? Scherzer's 40. He's in his 18th season.
Yeah.
Can the Blue Jays get one more year out of it?
I don't think so.
Can his arm withstand it?
I don't think so.
I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
But Kirk's keys, if the starting pitching can bounce back, they have a good lineup with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, and Anthony Santander. Now, with all that being said, what makes this an intriguing team is if they have a chance at the trade deadline, I think they buy and they take a shot at it. If they're not a contender at the trade deadline, I think they sell like crazy. And they dump almost everyone they got for a shit ton of prospects.
I don't see them. I see them being a for sale team. I don't see them going out. They didn't even come close to keeping Guerrero. So I don't see them spending a lot. Now, you two key players that you mentioned, Santander, we already talked about him. Okay. Can he approach that career year he had last year?
Right.
Okay. I don't know. Then Bo Bichette. Last year was not a good year. And a key stat for him, and I saw this today, he's back. They got him projected back leadoff. You know what his walk percentage is?
I have no idea.
5%.
5?
Now, if you're going to bat leadoff,
that's about normal for today's standard.
Well, it's a
home run or strikeout world.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I looked up other leadoff batters, and their walk rate was at least 10 or 11. And he's got to get on base in front of Guerrero and Santander, or they're just not going to. I mean, solo home runs aren't going to win for them. You got to get some guys on base.
Yeah.
And their bottom of their lineup is terrible. Their last two guys are batting in the mid to low 200s.
Yeah.
So, like I said, they're going to be right stuck there between Tampa and the top three. I just don't see, and it really seems strange to say that Tampa may finish in last, but that's how strong this division is this year.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Because you've been talking about top three.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and give you my AL East projections here.
All right.
I got first the Yankees. I got second Baltimore. I got Toronto coming in third.
Okay.
I got Boston fourth and Tampa Bay fifth.
Okay. All right.
I know you're flip flopping Boston and Toronto, and Baltimore and New York. If not, what is your ALS East projections? Because you got a little bit different take than I do.
I will say this predicated on what happens in Boston as far as where they decide to play Devers, and if he can be productive if he's unhappy.
Right.
If he DHs and can be productive at that position, then I see them fighting with Baltimore for first. If the turmoil keeps blowing over, then I see Baltimore first and New York second. And I say that, go back again, because of the depth. And because of their total reliance on Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
If any, and hey, let's face it, as great a player as he is, he's spent a lot of time on the injured reserve. Okay.
Yep.
So if anything happens to him and he misses, that you're putting all your eggs in that one basket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the key reason I don't see them. I see them going to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And like last year, who would have thought you'd had 3 playoff teams from the American League Central?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
This year, I see that happening with the American League East. I see those 3 teams all making the playoffs.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to ifs, and that's going to be the way it is for this whole baseball season. This may be the most competitive season that we've seen,
mm-hmm.
because you've got 3 and 4 teams in every division that's got a shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if anything happens to any of those key players, then depth is key.
Yep.
And I just don't see the Yankees having the depth that Boston or Baltimore has.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to bring up the fact that I don't like the Yankees, but other than that, I'll be an objective.
And I'll be honest, I don't like the Red Sox. That might be why I have them fourth.
Okay.
So.
All right.
All right. Okay, so to finish off the AL, I've got the betting prop to take the Yankees to win the World Series. Like I said earlier, I did put money on that today.
I hope it wasn't much.
It wasn't. I never bet much. Prop to avoid, Blue Jays over-under wins. Again, I think it just kind of takes that, where are they going to be at the trade deadline?
Too risky.
And it could go very, very badly if you go the over. And if they're buyers, it could go badly the other way too. So I think they're the most intriguing team though. So let's hit the NL East.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and predicate this one with I am a big Atlanta Braves fan.
Oh, I wouldn't have any idea.
The day they went public, I may have bought stock one share in that. So with that being said, Atlanta Braves, the World Series are a plus 750. I say no. NL Pennant, they're plus 425. I'll say no. The NL East, they're a plus 110. I'll say no. The win total is 93.5. The over is minus 120. The under is plus 100. I would bet the under just because of the odds, and I think they will be that 93, 94 win area. So I think that 93.5 will be a very good line. Make the playoffs. Yes is a minus 400. No is a plus 270. I say yes, they will make the playoffs.
I agree.
I'm going to change this up a little bit here and give you my keys first. Spencer Strider, Ronald Acuna Jr., and now Sean Murphy. What can they do while those guys are out? Because I think their competition and the Phillies and the Mets will be hitting the road fast. And they're kind of behind the 8 ball with Spencer Strider, their ace, and Ronald Acuna Jr., arguably one of the best, if not the best, position player in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And, they both return in May. Mm-hmm. So they got to go a month without their two studs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what are they going to be able to do with the rest of their team? With that, my player to watch is Spencer Schwellenbach. He gave up 4 home runs in the minors. Mm-hmm. He gave up 14 last year in the MLB. Can he return to that minor league dominance? Mm-hmm. With that, though, last year in 123.1 innings, he only issued 23 walks. Mm-hmm. He finds the strike zone.
Yep.
So he is a low pitch count pitcher because he finds that zone.
Mm-hmm. You're going to find this hard to believe, baby.
Okay.
but I find myself more optimistic about the Braves than you are.
Okay. Now, I will say, I did not realize that they were the betting favorite to win the NL East until this afternoon.
Okay.
So I have actually made a couple tweaks, but I still don't think they win the East. And if they had Strider and Acuna all year, I think that changes things.
I think that they'll survive long enough to get those guys back because of their depth. To me, the biggest question is, because of his past history, is Chris Sale.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's older. He's had a terrible injury history.
He's not going to have a year. He's not going to have a Cy Young year. He's not going to be Cy Young.
If he can approach that,
yeah.
And then you've got depth at your starting pitching, okay. And you talked about Murphy. You know, we just found out that Murphy's going to be out for at least 4 to 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cracked a rhythm.
Yes, but your prospect, Drake Baldwin, your number one prospect is a catcher.
And he and Sell were the battery last night, and Sell loved him.
Sell praised him up one side and down the other. Well, you made the playoffs last year. Even with all those injuries, you made the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And Murphy did not have a good year last year.
He did not.
So Baldwin's not going to have to go a long way offensively to make up for him. Okay?
Yeah.
And then here's the other thing, you know. You signed a guy that until Acuna Jr. gets back, that can help make up his offensive difference.
Yeah.
Profar's a hell of a signing for you. Okay?
Yeah.
I love Profar. And then Harris, he's got to have a better year. Olson's definitely going to make a comeback. He thinks he found, watching videos of his swing, he thinks he found the problem. He was bobbing his bat too much, and he wasn't getting to the ball in time.
Yeah.
Okay. Riley was doing great before he broke his hand again. He started out slow, was starting to make a comeback, broke his hand, and then when he did come back, he was more towards his old self.
Right.
So, okay. And I know he's not been hurt, but if Ozuna, you know, I'm not a huge fan of him.
I know you're not.
Because of the type of person he is. But
I don't disagree with that.
But if he can have a comparable year to last year, and then we go back to what we were talking about with the Orioles, depth.
Yep.
You've always Stephen got these endless line of prospects that you can bring up and young guys. So I think they're going to do a lot better than you think they are. I have been winning that division.
My gut question mark is Travis d'Arnaud leaving. They didn't replace him. They're going to rely on Drake Baldwin or Chadwick Trump or whichever one of those two wins it out in spring training, probably, which is fine. I'm okay with that. They can learn from Murphy. That's great.
Yeah.
But my biggest issue is the pitching rotation. I just don't know if they have the firepower without Fried. I wish they would have went out and got someone to replace Fried instead of relying on within. But right now you got Chris Sell, Spencer Strider, who comes back in May, Reynaldo Lopez. He was terrific last year. But with Sell, does he have the same year? He had a career year, just like Sell did. That's hard to duplicate.
Yeah.
And then Spencer Strellenbach, it'll be his first full season. And then Grant Holmes. as their fifth starter. He's a bullpen guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they're starting. They're starting the year with a bullpen game already.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And that's even with Strider in, penciled in as the second guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish they will. I hope they go out and get a starter.
Yeah,
and maybe once we get rocking and rolling, and they see that that's what they're missing, maybe they will.
Uh-huh.
But
well, see that's an advantage that the Braves have too, and we'll put. I didn't mention this with Baltimore and Boston, but they're both so stacked with prospects, and your farm system is that way too.
mm-hmm.
That if there's a specific need that you have, you've got, and that's one thing that kind of hurts the Yankees.
Right.
Their farm system's not as good. There's somebody you need mid-season at that deadline. You got the prospects to go out there and get what you need to get. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think so. Plus, the way you got to look at it is, okay, when you're talking about the winning the division, is you're going to compare yourself to the other contenders. Now, I think the Phillies have a better starting rotation than you do.
Yeah.
But I think that you more than make up for that you have a much better position players in an offense than they've got.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you got to look at the ifs for every team.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that's the reason why, and we'll get to the Phillies, but that's the reason why I picked you for the division is your depth, your farm system. You can go out and pick and choose what you want.
I'll tell you what, I hope you're right, because I might get a nickel if they make the playoffs.
I think they'll definitely make the playoffs. I don't think it's even.
I mean, go on a run in the playoffs.
Okay, all right.
All right, well, you mentioned the Phillies. Let's just go ahead and talk about them.
Okay.
Their World Series is a plus 1,200. I say no. NL Pennant, they're a plus 650. I have them losing in the NLCS.
I agree.
NL East is a plus 215. I have that as a yes. Win total is 91.5. The over is plus 100. The under is minus 120. I've got the over. Make playoffs, yes, is a minus 260. No is a plus 220. I have yes. Like players to watch is Alex Bohm. He had a 170 average in September.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the year was a 290.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the season, he needs to put an entire season together for
Mm-hmm.
him.
Yeah.
That's going to be that key. And then, I mean, Kirk's keys is stay healthy. There is no soft spot in that lineup. The starting pitching is exceptional. They have to, like you said, they don't have a lot of depth, so they have to stay healthy.
Absolutely, yeah. And they definitely have the best starting rotation in the East. There's just no doubt about that. Wheeler may be the best pitcher in the National League right now. But I start to look at their offense, and this made me feel really old when I heard this, but this is Harper's 14th season in the major leagues.
Yeah.
Now, I know that he's not that old age-wise because he started out so young.
Right.
But still, when you've been around for 14 years, it starts taking a toll.
Yeah.
And
yeah, absolutely.
So that's what worries me about the Phillies as far as their offense goes. Their four main guys are all getting up there.
Yes.
Real Muto,
yeah.
Harper, Schwarber, and Turner.
Yeah.
They're all really getting up there.
Yeah.
And then you go past those guys, Bohm is not a big threat offensively, usually.
He's an average guy.
Yeah.
He's an average guy.
And Marsh, they've got a good shortstop, but he's up and down. So that's the reason.
That's where I disagree with you. I think Trey Turner's just up.
Well, no, I mean there's his backup.
Oh.
Can't think of
Edmundo Sosa.
No. Well, yeah, and he's like anything happens to
Or
us.
Stott. Were you talking Bryson Stott?
Stop. Yeah, he showed a lot of promise when he first came up, and that's why they were alternating him and Turner at second and short. He's not developed at all.
Yeah.
Like I said, you get down after those first four, there's not a whole lot of offense there, and they're all getting older. That's where I think the Braves got over them.
Nick Castellanos, he always seems to come up in a clutch spot. I mean,
yeah, they make the playoffs, he'll be dangerous. But
he's just clutch. I mean, when they need a big hit, it always seems like that guy just gets it for him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always against Atlanta too, which really pisses me off. And then Kyle Schwarber on DH. I don't understand him batting that leadoff spot.
I never have understood that.
And I don't know if they'll continue that this year.
No, they're projecting this to lead Turner off now.
Okay, well, that's good because
He's got speed.
I mean, you know, I like IU. I'm not gonna lie, so I'm IU baseball guy.
Sure.
Obviously, Indiana State's my favorite. We'll get into that here on our next team. But you know, I like Schwarber, but there's no way I would put him in front of Trey Turner on the base pass.
He has nothing when you
now,
talk
as a Braves fan, I really appreciate that they did that.
Yeah.
And I hope they do it again. But I don't get it.
When you're looking at definitions of what you want as a leadoff hitter, he's got none of them.
No.
Except maybe he walks some.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's got no speed.
Nope.
He's got power. So let's see. To me, that's second, third, or fourth spot. Okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't bat for a high average.
No.
So you want high average, you want high on base percentage, and you want speed. He's got none of those, but yet it seems to have worked for him.
Yeah,
but I never understood it either. So
whatever.
I don't. But here's another advantage I think that you've got over them. Their bullpen is not real strong.
Okay.
I can't even think of their closer right now.
Their closer is Jordan Romano. Their backup closer is Matt Strong.
Yeah. Okay.
Who was, I think, I've never heard of Jordan Romano.
I haven't either.
I have heard of Matt Strong.
Yeah.
And he was pretty good for him last year.
Yeah.
And really that's the key to their bullpen. If you can get to it early,
right,
you're in good shape.
Right.
But if you're trying to hit off of Jose Alvarado and Matt Strong and 8 and 9, good luck.
Yeah.
And if this Jordan Romano is better than those two,
but they're not deep.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
that's their problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. If their starters can't get you to the 8th inning, then they're in a little trouble.
But their starting rotation was Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez. They've got they're solid.
Yeah.
But like I said, my key for them: stay healthy.
Yeah, no, that's those top 4 guys especially. Yeah. Anything happens to them, and they're in trouble.
All right, let's go to the New York Mets. Boo. World Series, I got them at a plus 1,200. That's a no. NL Pennant plus 700. I got that as a no. NL East plus 240. I got that as a no. Their win total is 90.5. The over is minus 110. The under is minus 110. I've got that as an over. I think this is a 3-team 90-plus win division. I think they beat up on each other, but I think they do a lot of damage. If the Nationals and Marlins were to win a game, I think it's against each other.
Yeah.
Or Alcantara pitches or something. Make the playoffs, yes, is minus 250. No is plus 205. I've got the yes. My players to watch. This was before the injury that I did this. It might be the ISU Sycamore in me, but that's Sean Mania. He had struggled for a couple of years, and after a game watching Chris Sell, he noticed the arm angle, and he dropped that arm to where he was releasing from at Indiana State, and he had the best half season after the All-Star break last year, and just dominated. A little side note to that, I hate that he's a Met.
Oh, I know you do.
I absolutely hate he's a Met because I root for him, and I hate having to root every 5 days for the New York Mets.
Yeah, I know.
That kills me.
Yeah.
My keys, I added this today. Sean Mania, how long is he going to be out?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen a number on that yet.
I heard 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay. So then he's got to come back arm wise and everything else after he's healthy. So pitching, we may not see him till mid-May. And then Juan Soto, how's he get along with his new teammates? And players like Mike Vientos, who had breakout years, will need to continue this season for a chance to win this thing.
Well, and not only is Mania hurt, but their number 2 man is hurt now too.
I did not see that.
I'm trying to find it.
Frankie Montas. ESPN has
Montas is hurt now too.
ESPN has Mania as their second. Montas, whatever his name is third.
Okay, well he's hurt now too.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And when you look at their bullpen, they got Ryan Stanek, they got Edwin Diaz, and they got AJ Minter. That's another former Brave that he always infuriated me. It seemed like he always gave up a home run in a big situation in Atlanta. But he really helped them in that playoff run. That year they won a World Series.
Yes.
So that's another guy that's got a soft spot in my heart that just going to be painful to see him as a Met.
You just may develop into a Mets fan.
I don't think I can. Be like you saying you develop into a Cubs fan.
No, that ain't gonna happen either. Yeah, ain't gonna happen. Well, it's awful tough division to stay afloat.
Mm-hmm.
With those 2 guys, on the bench for God knows how long, and then even if they come back, how long does it take them to get back to normal? Mania has been filthy. He's a great pickup for them. But now Nemo's hurt too.
You're right.
So they just seem to keep getting bit. And this is not a division, the American League or the National League East is not a division you want to start out the year hurt.
Well, not only is Nemo hurt, you got Starling Marte at the backups.
Marte's knees bothering him, so that's just, I see them as third place.
I do too.
And unless they can stay afloat for the first couple months, it may be a distant third place.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Soto's chemistry. I've never been a fan of him. I don't like his attitude.
No.
And even though I don't like the Yankees, I thought it was tasteless of him to, as soon as they got beat, to bring up the fact that, I'll be glad to get out of here, basically. That was totally tasteless.
Yeah.
I think he's a little overrated. His defense sucks. He's an on-base machine, but I wouldn't want him on my team, and I sure as heck wouldn't pay him that kind of money. There's no way. No way. I could think of a lot of players I'd spend money on before I'd spend money on him.
I mean, you're seeing teams now with payrolls over $1 billion.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting ridiculous.
You know what the Mets payroll was highest in baseball last year?
Yeah.
And then they added in.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, because of all the money the Dodgers spend, it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out at the end of the year next year.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of this year.
And to clarify, I'm not talking $1 billion in 1 year.
Yeah.
I'm talking over $1 billion of the lifespan of contracts.
Yeah.
Which is still stupid.
Yeah. And this is a totally different subject, but a lot of that's going to depend on what is going to happen with viewing rights, streaming, TV. They still don't have a handle on any of that.
No. And you know what? I wasn't going to renew my MLB TV package this year. I was just going to watch whatever was on ESPN. But us doing this with the Bucky Sports Show,
I renewed mine.
I'm renewing it.
We'll see what happens, but yeah.
It may be a month-to-month thing. I haven't really decided yet, but I am going to renew.
But I know, and this will be a subject for when we start talking about the National League West, but that's why the Dodgers have been able to afford to do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Is they have their own network.
Yeah.
And that's why, and the Yankees have their own network.
Right.
When you do that, especially now, New York's mainly focused on the New York area, but when you're Southern California and you take in all that, then they can afford to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't blame them.
You're right.
Yeah.
Hey, Braves, get back on TBS. Then I don't have to buy the MLB TV package.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a can of worms that's gonna need to get ironed out.
Yeah, because as a fan, I don't want to pay more money to go to ball games.
Right. Yeah.
It was expensive enough already, and I have put a pause on my quest to get to every major league ballpark.
Oh yeah,
because I don't think I can afford it.
And here's something else that shouldn't be allowed. And I know there's no way you can change that because it's all about money. But here's something else that shouldn't be allowed. You should not be allowed to charge more for a fan to come to one game than another.
Mm-hmm.
This blew my mind. I received a Cardinals gift card from my daughter for Christmas, and I wanted to go see the Dodgers. The price for the seat I was looking at, say for the Tigers, was $65. Do you know what the price of that same ticket was for the Dodger game?
It was over 100.
170.
170, yeah.
Almost 3 times the amount.
See,
then they've always charged more for Cub games. That's just not right.
That's my issue with being a Braves fan. That is now a premier game.
Mm-hmm.
So anytime I want to go watch the Braves on the road, I can't do it.
Right.
And then if I want to go watch the Braves in Atlanta, I either got to go watch a bad baseball team or pay a lot more to watch a good baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not worth it.
No.
It's really not. And, and it's something I was talking to my brother Zach about. I can go to a national park and see a lot cooler things for a lot cheaper than what I can go to a baseball game for.
Well, I just bought it. We got one of the best kept secrets. I'm amazed at how many people in our area had never been to an Indians game.
Yeah.
My 7-game season ticket pack to the Indians cost less than one game at St. Louis.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a great place to go.
It is.
It's
It
wonderful.
is. If you've not been to Victory Field, go check it out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Let's go on to a couple of duds here. Miami Marlins. World Series is a plus. Is that a plus 50,000 or 5,000? No, that's a 50,000. I got that as a no. NL Pennant is a plus 25,000. I've got that as a no. NL East is a plus 25,000. I've got that as a no. Now, if any of you want to take a chance on that, don't go over $10 on that because you are just wasting your money. The win total. This might be the only interesting bet for this team. The win total is 63.5.
I don't see that.
The over is plus 100. The under is minus 120. I've got the under. Will they make the playoffs? Yes is a plus 2,000. A no is a minus 10,000. I've got the no.
No way.
So if you want to put $1 on the no, you might win a penny. I don't even know if that's enough to win you a penny if you put $1 on it. If you want to put $1 on the yes, you're going to lose $1. My keys for them, Ryan Weathers and Santi Alcantara. They're pitchers coming off injury. In my opinion, the only hope Miami has is for these two to be healthy and return to dominance. And my keys, actually, I don't have a key. I forgot about that. I have a note.
No.
The only guaranteed money in the books for 2027 and 2028 is the $10 million that the Marlins are paying the Yankees for Giancarlo Stanton.
There you go.
The team they currently have has no future with Miami past next year.
I don't see really how you could. I mean, I know if you live in a city, you root for your local team, but I don't see how. And, you know, Alcantara, if he's healthy and he comes back to the form, he won't be there. I guarantee you.
Yeah, they're going to sell.
Yeah.
They're going to sell.
At trade deadline, he's gone.
Yeah, he's out.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they got some decent prospects coming up, but it's just, there's nothing there to excite anybody on anything. I just don't.
I mean, looking at their depth chart here, catcher Nick Fortes. First base is Matt Mervis. Second base is Otto Lopez. Third base is Connor Norby. Shortstop is Xavier Edwards. Left field is Kyle Stoyers. Center field is Dane Myers. Right field is Jesus Sanchez. And DH is Jonah Bride. I have heard of Jesus Sanchez.
That's the one, only one. I've never heard
I've
of
not
him.
heard of anyone else.
And I watch a lot of baseball.
And I watch them quite a bit because they're NL East. So I watch them play Atlanta quite a bit.
Right.
And the only other two I've heard of other than Jesus Sanchez is Sandy Alcantara and Ryan Weathers.
Yep.
They have three people on their team that I have heard their name and embedded in my memory.
Ditto. Yeah, I haven't either. It's really sad. It's really sad.
And this was a hard team to research.
There's nothing to research.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be excited about.
No.
I thought about looking into that, and I thought, why waste my time?
Yeah.
It's just they're dead last. They'll fight it out for the worst record in the National League.
Well, here's my question: if they sell their pitchers, are they going to have a White Sox type season? Will they be as bad as last year's White Sox?
Very good possibility.
I think there's a chance.
Very good possibility. Yeah, very good possibility.
I mean, if you're going to be bad, you might as well be the worst bad team there is.
They will contend with the White Sox. Now the White Sox will improve a little bit. The Marlins could very well be the worst team in baseball this year. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
Because the Rockies are better than them.
Yes.
So I'd say they're the worst team in baseball.
I think so.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Because I even think the White Sox will be better.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah, they are. Okay, let's move on then. Let's go to the Washington Nationals, our last team of the evening. World Series. They are at plus 30,000. I got that as a no. The pennant plus 10,000, that's a no. An NL East plus 6,500, that's a no. This one may surprise you a little bit. The win total is a 72.5. The over is minus 110. The under is minus 110. So there's not really a favorite either way going there. I took the over. And the reason why is I just think they just drill the Marlins when they play them too, just like everyone else will. And then I've got players to watch. The pitching staff. Is this an addition by subtraction? Will the departure of Patrick Corbin be a good thing? Last year he had an ERA over 5. The issue with their starting pitching staff is Josiah Gray won't return until after the All-Star break. Mackenzie Gore had an ERA of 3.90 last year. It was a 1.26 in September. So if he can continue how he ended, he will be a bright spot for that. And then my Kirk's keys for them, Nathan Lowe, or Lau, however he pronounces that, needs to return to his 2023 form in his World Series championship year with the Rangers.
Right.
And Josh Bell and C.J. Abrams have solid years.
Yes. Another guy that's a future stud, C.J. Abrams. Yeah.
Yes.
He's
yeah.
And there are a lot of reasons to be excited about this team. Maybe not necessarily for this year.
Yeah.
But they are loaded in the minors.
Yes.
They got some great James Woods. He's a great player. They are very young, and they've got money. Now, this may sound crazy, but this has been talked about by a lot of analysts that with as much money as they have saved over the past years with these young players and not spending any money towards the free agents, they've got the money that they could go out, and they're going to be getting a new TV contract, by the way. They've been released by Masson. This is their last year with Masson.
Okay.
That they've shared TV rights with Baltimore.
Okay.
Okay. They're free to shop themselves next year. Okay?
Yep.
All right. So you add that to their money.
Yeah.
And like I said, this may sound crazy to a lot of people that don't religiously follow it. But they will be, my prediction and several other guys, they will be in serious contention for signing Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Okay.
And if that happens,
yeah,
with the young players they've got coming and the young players they've already got, like I said, they're not going to contend for anything this year.
No.
I like the numbers as far as total wins. I can see 70-something.
Yeah.
And they'll be a definite thorn in the side of the big three in that division. Okay?
Yeah.
But there's definitely reasons to be excited about them for the future, and I want to say that especially to my youngest daughter Emily that was watching this.
Okay. Yeah.
She is a Rochester Red Wing fan now.
Yep.
She's living in Rochester, so she definitely got some talent to go watch there.
Yes. They have a lot of young talent.
Definitely.
Even looking at their potential starters, I mean, guys I didn't mention, Paul DeJong.
Yeah.
Looking at their rotation, I didn't realize until right now, Michael Soroka.
I just saw that, yeah.
Mike Soroka. Yeah. Another Brave, former Brave. How I feel awful with how he ended things in Atlanta with his Achilles.
Yeah.
I really hope he comes out and has a solid year.
Well, they didn't lose anything by taking a chance on him.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So I mean, if he does what he did in Atlanta when he was healthy, this team could push 80.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
This team, because I don't think defensively, offensively, they're that bad of a lineup. Their pitching staff was the question mark for me.
Yeah, but they're young enough both ways to be cocky.
Right.
And they're not going to lose. You know, they'll feel no pressure. There's nothing more dangerous than a young team that has a lot of talent.
Right.
That knows that they've been X'd out by everybody, and they're just going to go out and have some fun.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you, by the time the year's over, this team will be hated by the Braves, the Mets, and the Phillies.
Yeah.
Because they'll play some key roles in who wins that division. They won't.
Right.
But one of those teams, if not all three of them, is definitely going to hate that team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Same way with Tampa.
Yeah.
They'll finish in last, but they'll be a pain in the butt to the top 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, talking our NL East predictions here. I actually have on my paper 4 teams over 80 wins. That is my bold prediction for the NL East.
Yeah. If Washington makes it, that's easy.
Four teams with 80 plus wins, and the Miami Marlins, who hopefully will get third. Obviously joking about that, but it feels realistic. My first place team is the Phillies. To be the best, you gotta beat the best. And till the Braves can accomplish that this year, I have them in second. I did flip-flop the Braves and Mets today from when I wrote this last week, just because of the Mania injury and all the other injuries that the Mets have. So I think the Braves are a little deeper in. 4th Nats, 5th Marlins.
I agree with that, except for the first 2.
Okay.
I'm going to pick the Braves.
Okay.
And then the Phillies. And then it would, like I said, I think it would have been a heck of a 3-way race, and the Mets will still be competitive.
Yeah.
But I don't think they could stay afloat long enough to be right there.
Right.
They'll finish third, and the Nats will get everybody headaches, and the Marlins aren't even worth talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just that. I think the betting line on the Marlins should be, will they break the White Sox record from last year for losses?
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good possibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially, because you know any good pitching they got will be gone at the trade deadline.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the second half of the season down there will be absolutely dismal.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yes. All right, so my betting prop to take in the NL East, I did put $5 on this today, was the Phillies to win the East. With that plus 200, or plus 215, I think it's a good bet to take. I'm not opposed, and I may go in and do this before the season starts as well, but the Phillies to win the World Series. Just because of the odds, that plus 1,200 odds, get some return for your buck there. And let's face it, the lineup plus the pitching staff plus Red October, all they got to do is win one away from Philly, because they don't lose in Philly in October. They just don't.
Yeah.
So if they can get that bye and get some rest, although I will say, I'm not a fan of the bye. I'd almost rather win the division and be that 3 seed than have to have a team get hot and come in.
Well, I will go out a little bit of a limb right here and say that I think the National League, the World Series winner, is definitely going to be one of 3 teams. It's either going to be the Dodgers,
Yep,
or the Phillies,
yep,
or the Braves.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now the Dodgers
Now let me just set something straight here for our viewers or listeners or fans and all that. You told me coming into this I could not pick the Braves. Right. I got the receipts on text message here.
All right.
So you told me I couldn't do that.
All
so
right.
keep that in mind too on my NL division.
Well,
but everything I did put money today on the Phillies to win the East, and I may go back and put money on them to win the World Series before this is over.
Well, and the reason I say that is that, you know, there's a vast difference between the regular season and playoffs.
Yeah.
The Dodgers are undoubtedly set up the best for the marathon.
Yes.
There's no question they should, barring a total rash of injuries.
Yeah.
There's no question that they should finish with the best record in baseball.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But that depth doesn't mean as much when you're down to a 5 or 7 game series.
Yeah. So
any one of those 3 teams could win in a 5 or 7 game series.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I don't see a legitimate bettable chance of anybody but those 3 teams winning the World Series. Or at least
in the National League.
The National League.
In the National League.
Yeah. And
but I think there's I mean, Yankees were my pick to win the World Series. So, you know.
Yeah. Now, I think the American League, the flip side of that is there's a lot more teams, I think, in the American League that's got a legitimate shot. So.
Yeah. Well, I guess I shouldn't say they were my pick. I put money on them to win the World Series.
Yankees. Okay.
Yeah, I have them losing in the World Series, but I think it's worth the shot.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. You got anything else for this evening?
Nope.
Okay. Well, that'll wrap up tonight's episode then. We'll come back next week with the AL Central and the NL Central. And we'll wrap this up. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff, and we will see you next week.